Another linebacker or two safeties, probably three corners, one receiver, a couple running backs, tight end, a guard, tackle, maybe two centers.
That's an SEC big bad demon. There's been a lot that's been said about a Deion Sanders-led Colorado team, but when a lot of people are talking about what they've lost, I think there's a certain level of chip on the shoulder that they've gained, right? When you remove some of the magnifying glass that Shedeur Sanders had, and obviously he's taking that with him over to the Browns, doing 8,000 miles down the highway, or you know what I'm saying, we love Shedeur here, or even Shiloh Sanders and really taking advantage. Jimmy Horn is already becoming a fan favorite in Carolina. LeJonte Wester is shining in Baltimore. Travis Hunter is the mayor of Jacksonville. So clearly, it seems like all of the big names and big storylines that kind of centered Colorado not having to do with Deion Sanders have seemingly left. And I think what leaves there is a team where a lot of people question, right? Early on, hating Colorado was easy to hate because it seemed like they were talented. It seemed like there was some talent there, but y'all just can't win because y'all are just talent. Y'all don't have a full team. It was almost like the old guard of college football was pointing and laughing at Deion Sanders, telling it that he was going to fail. After a 9-4 season, though, it looks different. But after a 9-4 season in which the most impactful players head off to the NFL, it's a lot of questions. Are people going to be hating for Colorado like they used to? I'm not sure. Are they going to be watching like they used to? I definitely think so. Regardless, I am going to go out on a limb and have a hot take about this particular recruiting class. I think that this recruiting class is going to be the one that actually changes the Colorado culture in a whole, right? With Shedeur, Travis, and those boys, Cam, Shiloh, what they did is break the door down. Sometimes you got to break the building down before something can get built up. I think Caden Salter, I think Julian Lewis, I think freshman All-American Jordan Seaton, I think Omarion Miller, I think Quentin Gibson, true freshman. I think all of these new recruits under this Deion Sanders regime that's fully from Colorado is going to turn Colorado into a program that's going to be hard to stop in the future recruitment, especially with the new House ruling. So let's get into it. First things first, I want to do a few things. We're going to listen to Deion Sanders, what he said at the top of the spring transfer portal. We're going to review some of the most impactful transfers coming in this entire transfer portal class. And then I'm going to talk about my favorite additions through the portal for this year as well. And then after that, we do have a well-off media video. And this is where I talk about the culture changing, right? We're going to play just a little bit of this while having the background. But this is a player. Oh, well, this isn't the players-led meeting. They're in a players-led workout right now, dog. You got there's Draylon Miller, right? There's too many Millers on this dang team. You got a Marion Miller, Draylon Miller. I think there was another Miller. They said we need some diversification of last names. So this is what they're doing. They've got their own. They're having their own what's it called? Player-led practice, dog. And I think it was in here, but there's Quentin Gibson. We're gonna get into it. There's Caden Salter. I just wanted to pop in to show y'all that. And then of course you had a few transfer portal. Most recently, Isaiah August, just to give you an update. Isaiah August obviously is South Carolina, so we'll be following him. And then you got Samion Priest, who just came from Coastal Carolina over to Colorado. So let's get into it now. This is from ESPN, so not ESPN. It is from ESPN. I'm sorry. Colorado landed 2 of ESPN's top 100 recruits. Shout out to Scott Proctor. If you are a Colorado Buffalo fan and if you do use X, make sure you follow him. Make sure you have your notifications on. He does phenomenal stuff. So this says they landed 2 of the top 100 transfers. Number 20, defensive line, Jaheim Otis. And I think this one is somehow being undervalued because Nikhil Hill-Green, I don't think the leading tackler, but probably one of the most impactful linebackers for Colorado last year, went to Alabama. So when we talk about people trying to talk about Deion Sanders and his players a certain way, y'all look stupid because the same player that was at Michigan in Charlotte, if I'm correct, went to Colorado and then went to Alabama. And it makes, I know for a fact, it makes Alabama players like Jaheim Otis, it probably makes it easier for him to come over to Colorado. So that's an Alabama player. That ain't no Mill the Marsh, dog. That's an SEC big bad demon, all right? Defensive line at the top 20. Number 45, Caden Salter, who 2 seasons ago was one of the most productive quarterbacks in all of college football. He started more games than a lot of a lot of other quarterbacks in the game of college football right now. So it gives, even if Julian Lewis does end up starting, which I think if you're a Colorado fan, you don't want to happen, just because you want to preserve those legs as long as you can. You're going to have somebody who with so much experience to be able to go ahead and give on to the young players as a whole. Sorry, I'm getting the hiccups. Anyway, Colorado has a number 23 ranked transfer class in the country after the latest additions, and this was April 30th. So this was after the spring portal was supposed to be closed. But you and me both know the portal don't work like that. And it was just open. It was willy-nilly, and they went ahead and grabbed a few players. So what does ESPN have to say about Colorado's 2 impact portal players? Right now, this is what I mean. When I say Jaheim Otis is a real deal, big boy, big bad, big body, Alabama SEC defensive tackle, 6'5", 320, 2 years remaining. Otis was the number 38 recruit in the 2022 ESPN 300 and started 13 games over his first 2 seasons with the Crimson Tide. So you're not just getting a dude who was on the Alabama roster. You're getting an SEC player who's played against SEC offenses, right? Heading into 2024, the offseason surgeries for shoulder, knees, and toes. I'm sure what you knee and ankle issues forced him to miss spring practice and limited him at the start of the preseason camp. So he played a rotational role early on and averaged 17 snaps per game under Alabama's new coaching staff. Unsatisfied with his playing time, he opted to redshirt and sit out the rest of the season to enter the portal. Otis had 52 tackles, 5 pass breakups, and 1.5 sacks during his time in Tuscaloosa, and certainly has the size and potential to be an NFL talent. Scouts take Otis battled injuries during his time at Alabama, but showed he could be a dominant force on the interior. He has massive size and powerful strength to take on double teams and eat up space. He has good bursts off the snap with low pad level to get an upfield push. Otis is a strong bull rusher with powerful hands who will collapse the pocket versus the pass. Now, if I could talk about why I personally like the addition of Jaheim Otis is when you were watching that defense last year. So I want to take it back because when you're watching the defense in 2023, they couldn't stop nothing. It was just the run game was bad. They couldn't really stop the pass game. It was tough. With this last year, it seemed like the defense shined in some places, right? Obviously with Travis Hunter, you had McKinney, you had Cam. There was a lot of bright spots in the defense, and a lot of times what you saw was the edge play, specifically in run defense, was great. And it seemed like more to the end of the season when you got more into Big 12 play, they started getting more to the quarterback. I say that to say there's not a lot of height there. They don't have a lot of size, and they didn't have a lot of size on the edge, but they still got the job done. They still created pressure. I feel like they were wrecking games, right? And they were being able to be impactful both in running pass game. What you didn't see though is a lot of defensive tackles being able to do that. And I think with Jaheim Otis, you get something big, right? If you're gonna play a 4-3. I don't think they have a new defensive coordinator, but I forget the set that Colorado runs, like base-wise, but it doesn't really matter because all defense at this point, they switches and whatever. But if I'm coming out in a 3-4 and I need a real nose, 326.5 gonna do it for you in the NFL. Or if I am running, 4 down linemen, I got 3 techniques, I got 2 techniques. I think the real thing that Colorado was missing was someone who can just clog some up, dog, who can just move some bodies over there. I think they're great slanting. I think the edge play was great. I think the linebacker play, Nikhil Hill-Green was great. Bentley was great. The linebacker play was great. They were scraping. They were doing a lot of good things. But when it came to immediate, in-your-face, big boy pressure, I think this is going to take so much alleviation off of, whether it be the defenders or some of these younger cornerbacks and defensive backs that are going to try to be able to fill in for the defense as well. Then you have Caden Salter, again, from Liberty. He's got a long story. We did a separate video about him, and we kind of walked through his story. He's got a crazy story. He started at Tennessee. He was a highly touted guy. He got kicked out of Tennessee, then went to Liberty, which I believe is a Christian school. So that was the whole thing. And he's coming to bring a whole new element of the offense to Colorado. But let's read what ESPN has to say. Then I can yap a little bit. So 6'1", 200, redshirt junior. He only has 1 more year. He said Salter led a historic season for Liberty in 2023 with a 13-0 run, a Conference USA title, and a trip to the Fiesta Bowl. He earned CUSA MVP honors in his first season operating Coach Jamie Chaldwell's spread option attack. The Flames couldn't match 2023, failing to 8-3, and to be in Conference USA, like people were talking. I remember because we were talking about because everybody was, they wanted to see what Caden Salter was going to do this year because they went so crazy last year. They were, when you look back at, 8-3, is that bad in the Conference USA? I mean, I get that y'all were 13-0, and I get that his stats took a hard hit, but 8-3 is not like the terribleness, especially for CUSA. It's not like you're in the SEC and you're Alabama coming off of a national championship appearance, right? You're coming off of a 13-0 appearance that you would assume would want to keep high, but still, obviously not the best thing to see. So, but few quarterbacks in the portal market have more proven dual threat production. So there you go. Like I alluded to, extremely productive. The former Tennessee transfer has put up 5,887 passing yards, 2,000 rushing yards, and 77 total touchdowns with 31 turnovers in his career. Scouts take Salter is another version of SMU's Kevin Jennings. And Kevin Jennings is an interesting person to kind of allude to because I felt like he was just there and he wasn't there at some times. I feel like sometimes Kevin Jennings was the best man on the field, and then sometimes he just kind of didn't give SMU enough. But I really like Kevin Jenkins. But he's crafty, makes tons of plays off platform, and can make things happen on the move. He can be incredibly accurate on small window throws down the middle of the field. Now, to talk about Caden Salter and really why I think he's a great addition, to add another reason, it's because of the run game, right? And I think it's easy just to say, oh, it's because of the run game, XYZ, LMNOP. But no, I think more importantly, right, you talk about how does one find new ways to run the ball, right? For an offense that was completely lethargic when it came to the running game, and one that's hopefully gonna try to attack that as its main source, as we're gonna allude to with my impact transfers being, these offensive linemen. Basically what we're gonna see and get at is that you can bring new offensive linemen, bring new running backs, do all this stuff, but something that changes the game, and you can see this in the NFL, but even more so, I would have to argue at the college football level, is a quarterback that can run the ball, because the offense in so many ways, like the offense just becomes opened up in a lot more different areas, because instead of your numbers being, just one running back and against the box of players, you have an additional blocker. You're adding a blocker into blocking schemes. You're adding more influence that I can pull the backers with. I can hit you with a fake pull and go. Like it makes linebackers a lot more honest, right? It makes defensive linemen not commit so much up the field, right? It makes defenders just give you a second. It makes defenders think, right? When you start pulling out read options and you know what I'm saying, buck counters and all this other stuff, and you keep having that quarterback pull it's going to make somebody have to sell it. Oh, well, hey, let's just hit the quarterback. Oh, hey, let's just hit the running back. And when you start getting quarterbacks, and this is a common thing, right? I'm not some NFL or football savant, but it's a very big talking point that teams with running quarterbacks, really it's teams who run option, teams that run things like trap, teams that run, triple option, wing T, stuff like that. It forces defense to play basic. It just rules defense, right? Defenses specifically, because of what Saban has done, it's almost become offensive, the way that match coverages and things like that, the way that you can disguise things, and like so much of the NFL game, and this is just how the game of football that has worked, is leaking into college football when it comes to the way that the concepts are played on the defensive side. That defenses are they're giving these quarterbacks a hard time, but. And I know it's funny to think about, but the most archaic way to force you motherfuckers out, get out the amoeba defenses, go ahead and get out that 3-3 mint, get out that nickel, get out that 3 safety look. I dare you. I dare a Big 12 team to run that bullshit with 3-3-2 3 safety look. And I'm just running read option. I'm going to run power read option. Hey, I dare you to put 6 DBs on the field while I'm running read option 7 times. You know what I'm saying? But what it does is like, hey, you got to be big. You're going to force the defense to be reactionary, and defense is typically, defensive reactionary. And when a defense gets to impose their will with blitzes and getting in the and forcing the offense in weird predicaments, that's how the defense takes something from the offense. They take that from them. But as an offense, hey, how do you redo it? Hey, we gonna run the ball, and you ain't gonna know who's gonna have the ball. So it adds a whole new dynamic, not with just extra blockers, but how a defense has to respond to how you attack too. I think that's gonna only aid as they try to find more openings in the pass game and different things like that. Right. So now I want to talk about my two favorite additions. I think one. No, these are both from the second portal window. My favorite, it's got to be Noah King. Now, he's from K-State. He's 6'2", 200 pound. He's a 4-star recruit in the 2025 class. It's crazy that these kids are they're hopping around. He was just on campus at K-State and went ahead and transferred over to Colorado. He wasn't even on campus, I don't think. So he's got all 4 years of eligibility. Some people say 6'3". I've seen a lot more 6'2". Apparently he's a cornerback, I think, and we're gonna there we go, safety. Apparently people were saying he's a corner, and on 3 he says he's a corner. So 24/7 says he's a safety. On 3 says he's a cornerback at 6'1". I'm hoping, and this is why I like him so much, I'm hoping he plays safety. Deion loves him some long. First off, let me just pre-pause this. This is going to sound crazy. Deion Sanders has shown that he really loves longer cornerbacks. And I don't think that this is anything new. However, I think you've got enough length. I believe Mr. Johnson, number 5, I forgot his name, but he was going crazy in the spring. He's like 6'2", and he's a cornerback. I don't think we need, or Colorado needs, any more long cornerbacks, but a dominant physical safety. Now that just might be, you know what I'm saying? That might just be what it is. I'm gonna let this ad play. But while I let this ad play, that's why I think is gonna be the most impactful there. And then on the offensive side of the ball, the plethora of offensive linemen, again, to go along with the running game. How are you gonna supplement that running game? Hey, it starts with some big boys up front. Okay. It start with some big boy, big bad, big bodies. Okay, so Xavier Hill out of Memphis, Larry Johnson III out of Tennessee, who's a former JUCO player, Andre Roy Jr. in Maryland. The trio has combined to play in 64 career games with 35 combined starts. And here it is. You got Maryland transfer offensive line. He's a 6'6", 295 pounder. Has played in 17 games. Started 7 games at left tackle for the Terrapins last season. Allowed just 1 sack. He has 2 years of eligibility remaining. And then same guy there as well. And then you have 6'7". Hey, went ahead and got some skyscrapers, boy. Tennessee transfer offensive tackle Larry Johnson III has committed to Colorado. The 6'7", 350-pound right tackle played in 15 games over the last 2 seasons and was working with the Vols' first-team offense this spring. Former top-ranked JUCO recruit. And here is Noah King doing what he do the way he do it. And again, what you see from him is the physicality, and that's why I think that he can play safe. Not that I don't think he can play corner, but look how big oh my God, he is giant, dog. Yeah, he needs to play safety, and you can see his hips aren't that loose either. If he had crazy loose hips, I'd be like, all right, well, this kid needs to play corner. But I think this is a dude who is going to make that. Jalen Ramsey. I'm not saying he's the same player as Jalen Ramsey, but go ahead and play safety as a young bull. Get more fluid, right? Yeah, his hips are not fluid, but he attacks, dog. He has a trigger, and I think that's super important when it comes to playing safety. You can see that a lot of these highlights are him playing like some off zone and just using his range to go ahead and clamp down, make breaks on the balls, right? And I think what that would do for you. Oh yeah, and there he is. Okay, handling the comeback there too. Oh, here he is in man on an island. He stabs him, forces him to the. Okay, I like that. And again, I don't think he can't play corner. Well, he's big as shit. So I think he needs to take it to play safety. Super physical. You can see he's just roughing him up. I think he needs to go ahead and play safety. Give yourself another a run defending threat, and you can see him playing this off man coverage. The range is there. He can break on the ball. He can make different decisions. Right. He tried to throw across the body, went ahead and smacked that thing out there. So I think Noah King is going to be a great addition to the defensive side of things. But that's all we got today, man. Shout out to Colorado. Shout out to these new recruits. Shout out to them doing a player-led, practice, I think it was. Let's get to it here. Getting a player-led action on. I'm trying to see what specifically. Oh, yeah, here it is. Here's Caden Salter. Throwing up to the boys. So, they're building a bit of camaraderie. They're building something that's going to be super, and I know people kind of, alluded to it. There's Gene Otis, getting with the people. Yeah, just, just building a little bit. I like to see that, dog. But no, it's, is that movie on the team? Sorry. It's been said that, I think some people might have felt like they were alienated. Maybe Deion Sanders treated his kids a little differently. And dog, it's his son. I'm sorry. Even if he did, I don't give a fuck. Like, it's his son. I gotta be real with you. I gotta be honest with you. You know what I mean? But with all that being said, whether that's true or not, with them being gone, with the Suns being gone, Travis Hunter being gone, like I kind of alluded to, there's a bit of freedom, right? It's like you just kind of got the stimulus from them Jackson State boys who came in and turned this motherfucking ship around. And now what you're left with is some pretty high level, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a pretty high level recruits. You got Alabamas, you got this, you got that, you got big bodies all over the place. So I think as a Colorado fan, you got to be optimistic, but still understand that there's going to be growing pains. Still understanding that as great for them to feel like, hey, this is our team now. At the same time, this is their team now. We're going to see what those lumps look like, and we'll be following it throughout the season. So if you enjoy football content, college football content, everything else in between, go ahead and leave a like on this video. Just like it if you don't like it. Subscribe if you enjoy football content of all shapes, sizes, forms, and action, all that stuff. Hit the bell icon, not to miss Nathan. And we'll see you next time, man. Peace.